Hi all, welcome to the data analytics program of the CloudML platform. My name is Jeff Joss. Uh, I'll be talking on the topic medical cost data analysis. So without a further ado, let's get started. Before getting in the whole content, I'll be talking regarding what all we are supposed to be doing within the whole assignment. So the presentation highlights on the key factors which involves medical cost. The main objective of this is to bring insights based on the demographics, smoking habits, BMI category, and the region-wise analysis. So the main objective of this program is to identify that there are key factors which will influence the medical cost, that such as we know that smoking habits, BMI, and the region-wise analysis, which would help the healthcare providers and the insurers to make certain more decisions. Which this certainly means that the healthcare providers would be the people who would be involved within the hospitals, and most of these people would be knowing what all decisions to make based on certain data attributes. So we know that there are certain factors like non-smokers, smokers, and based on the BMI, they try to check whether they are trying to be fit or not. So BMI is calculated based on the weight and the height of the person, and based on the region analysis, we can understand that which area is getting problem based on the BMI, or which area is more into smoking. What are the certain factors which are external and internal, and so on. So the methodology of this is divided into three types. First is the uh, data processing and the cleaning. So the pre-processing starts with loading of the data. So here we try to use the medical cost analysis. We try to load that data in the Excel workbook, and we try to find if any inconsistency or unambiguous is there. We try to just fix it, and we fix it using certain tools. We can say maybe we can use basic replacing tool for the null values. So if you find any value within a data type which is inconsistent, we try to refill it. Okay. And for exploratory data analysis, we try to know which all areas we need to focus on. So firstly, we try to make certain plots based on how we need to make certain decisions. So those plots will try to give the relationship between the x and y coordinates, which will make us understand that which coordinate is having more number of occurrences, and based on that, what are the decisions that we need to be taken. Okay. Nextly, we go towards the dashboard development. Here we try to understand that we know that we have towards our exploratory data analysis, we try to use certain if loops, certain formulas, and we also try to use the certain bar charts, many other charts. We try to use those charts and put it in the dashboard format. So we use those charts. We use the slices are basically something that we know that we use it for interacting with the dashboard. So if you want to see it in a very big manner, we try to use them. It should help the business person, or you can say end user, to understand how it goes in a business insight, which will help them to know how we could reform certain areas, or we know that how certain actions can be taken based on the changes made within the data. Now, certain key insights which need to be discussed is most of the category try to fall in the obese based on the analysis. So we know that we haven't came to that area, but then we need to understand that most of them have to be taken as a targeted health intervention. So okay, let's just to go towards this. We know that we have charges, BMI, and age. So most of the people try to occur within 39 to 39.4121, and the least is 14 years. So we know that most of these category are within 30s range, and the charges go up to 39 to 13.2, which is little bit alarming at this stage, and need certain measures to be taken. And there's a stability in their BMI 30 kgs. So people with 30 kgs go up to 9 to 13 is pretty much high, and certain actions need to be taken in areas, but we don't know the areas. So while going towards the analysis, we can conclude which all areas are getting into this, and and so on. And yes, so next comes the medical charges and the BMI by gender. We know that we can see here that male is getting the highest charges uh, than the female. Just mostly because most of these males get into the smoking activities than the females. There's a bit higher for the males, which means that most of the males involved in more stress than the female, and which would help the medical institutions, or we can say all these hospitals, to gain more income, as we know that all these category of people will try to come there, which would render more income towards the medical area. But when you're trying to see within the society, it is not a good move. We know that most of these people try to be within the health conditions and treatments, and investigations contribute towards a higher male expensive rate than the female rate. Even though we can see there's a stabilize in between the BMIs, the rates are higher within the males, which indicates that there is a stress, there is a higher stress for them, and controlling is less, and they try to get into certain activities like smoking, or maybe certain issues can come after that as well. Effects of smoking on medical charges. So we can see that the on an average we can see that most of the smokers are getting after above 75%, and non-smokers are below 75%, which can even below 25%, which is not of a bad this thing. So smokers actually face a higher medical expenses, which underscores the financial impact of smoking health related issues. That is actually true, because most of these smokers will have related kind of issues, which then be going to the certain procedures in that hospital, which will give the hospital more income, but which will start deteriorating most of their rate there. So maybe they are areas get weak, and some of the areas get weak, and so they need certain treatments for that, and so on. So we need to promote certain smoking reduction programs, which should combat the addictions and give awareness to the society, rather than just getting into these type of activities. This would also help us to reduce certain risk factors. So impact on of dependence on charges. We know that number of dependents actually decreases. Okay, as the number of dependents decreases, there will be a growth in the medical charges, and of course, most of the dependents who are above 3 to 5 years, they are having a lesser cost than the people with 0 to 2 years, which need to be addressed, because as the higher the dependence, and lesser income but more intake of the customers, which should help the medical institutions or the hospitals to generate income in that way. So most of these families, after 4 to 5 dependents, would have tax reduction on this category of people as well. Region wise analysis, we can see that most of the regions are having medical cost almost the same, but then southeast is having a bit more upper hand with the northeast. Both of south, west and northwest is having approximately equal. So southeast should might have a bit more towards unhealthy habits, or we can say smokers, than the other sectors, which should be addressed at a higher stage. So we can see that regional disparities highlights need for local strategy, which would help them to allocate more resources to the high cost regions. Also, we know that southeastern regions for the highest has the highest BMI, which should correlate with increased health risk, and healthcare cost, which emphasizes on preventive measures. Nextly, we go to the frequency of medical costs. So here we discuss on the number of people who come within the category of the medical charges. So the first one is 1.1 to 11.1. Over here we can see 781. So almost we can see that around 1.2 to 1.3 customers are coming up. Over there itself, around 65% of the customers are coming in the category of 1.1 to 11.1. So, which means that actually, this is just an approximate figure from my side, which means that actually there are more intakes for these customers, which would give them more money for the hospital. But if you see, as the money increases, lesser people are going, which means that most of the people get tax concessions as they have dependence more in these areas. And when you are having lesser dependence, you try reluctant to go to certain hospitals, then maybe you would suggest to go to a different area, which would give them a reduction of price. So there is a lot of outliers in that manner which need to be addressed while reforming as well. So BMI classification, we can see most of them come to obese and overweight, which means that most of these categories need to be addressed at a greater stage, because the it will disrupt the society societal areas, and awareness should be given to these areas, such as southeastern are getting more to this, because most of the category above certain age groups are mixed, which are also having, even though if it's above 45, or we can say 18 to 25 also, we can see that obese is almost predominant in these areas. Also we can see other areas are also there, but then southeast is having a bit more obese than the other areas, which would give them a high cost for the medical charges, which is good for the health institutions but not good for the society. So certain areas should be addressed regarding this as well. So correlation between charges and BMI, we can see that there is an indication of a positive correlation towards 0 to 30 of the charges, and we can also see after that there's a bit more outliers and not it's sparsely populated, but within 0 to 30 there is a almost within 0 to 15 densely populated, and we can see from 20 almost 15 to 40, we can see that there is a huge average percentile on the number of charges being done around 0 to 15, which means that most of these people would have concessions, or we can say most of the intakes are coming as this age category, or based on that age category, people maybe 39 years. Based on that, there can be certain concessions, maybe dependents are more higher for them, or children are more higher for them, which would help them to get more concessions, where they try to visit more often in this hospital, irrespective of how our lifestyle is. So this need to be addressed at the later stage, as this would only help the society and them as well. But as a medical as a whole, for an institution, it is really good.